In this lesson, we're going to do a quick setup and prepare for our JavaScript exercise, which is coming up, where we're going to be building out the countdown timer. So I'm going to be using an editor, the editor that I'm using within the course, and this is to write the code within and create our HTML, our CSS, and our JavaScript file. This one is called Brackets. It's available from an Adobe product. It's free to download. It's an open source editor, and it's got a lot of really nice features. And the one that I'm actually going to be making use of is this one here, where we've got a live preview. So when you go in here, you've got the option for live preview, or you can click the little icon. And what this does is whatever page you're on, it will open up a live preview. So if I type in something here, and if I save it, we see that when we refresh it, it shows up within that live preview. So that's all we're going to be doing for the coding part of it. And we are also going to be adding in and using a browser, of course. And a browser gives us the ability to render out our JavaScript code. And the browser that we're going to be using is Chrome. Chrome comes with developer tools, which gives you an option to do an inspect and opens up this console where you've got all of your HTML code within the elements, and then you've got this console area where you can see JavaScript messages and also see any errors within your JavaScript. You can debug your JavaScript, and you can even write JavaScript and try that out. So we're just simply writing a function called hello, and we see that it invokes the hello, the alert, and we see that the alert pops up within our browser window. And you can do this and try out your JavaScript first within your console. Go ahead and open up your browser. If you're using Chrome, then you can also go to the More Tools and you can hit Developer Tools, and there's some shortcut as well. I'm on a Mac right now, so this is the command, the /command option. And basically that opens up my Developer Tools window. By default, the Developer Tools is going to probably be docked on the right-hand side. So usually what I usually like to do is move it to the bottom, so I've got a clean space here where I can work and we can display the content that we're working on, as well as I've got the console open up here in the bottom so that we can see any errors or any messages that we want to pass in. So the next step is to set up our HTML code. So I'm going to get rid of this, and we're going to be setting up our HTML. So starting out by defining our doc type, and just HTML5, so opening up a doc type. Then we're going to open up our HTML tags, and we'll place some content in here, of course. So the first thing that we need to do is do our head. So set up the head tags, and I usually like to keep a title in here, and this is going to be JavaScript Countdown Exercise. So to add that in as a title, and go ahead and save that. And we're going to also create a CSS file, so we're going to link out to that CSS file. So creating the link to CSS. So this is going to be linking out to Stylesheet, of course, for CSS. And an href, so this is going to be where our style is going to be located. And we're just going to link it out to style CSS. We haven't created it yet, but we are going to be creating that right now. So that's where we get our first error because style is not available yet. So let's go ahead and create that. So create a brand new page, and this is just going to be blank, and we're going to call it style CSS. So this is all on the root directory. We're going to keep all the files within the root just to make things simple. So now when I refresh it, my error message is gone because I've created the style sheet. And also let's do our script page as well. So script.js, and save that one, and then go into our code. So we need to also add in body, so add in the body tags. And just before we close off the body, we're going to add in our script. So this is, I usually like to keep it at the bottom because of the fact that we want the DOM to load, and because we're going to be interacting with some of the DOM elements. So usually I keep the script at the bottom, and I keep all of the HTML elements here at the top. So once we've set up our basic HTML template, I'm actually going to hide the side menu so we get a little bit more real estate to work with and that we can view. So typing in the code, and then within here, let's add in some HTML tags. So we're going to start by setting up our basic main container. So usually I do container, wrapper, it's all the same. Just a way to identify that main container where you're placing all of your content. We need to have an input field. And because this is HTML5, I'm going to use the default date picker that they have. And you can also use JavaScript date pickers, and we'll give it a name so that we can identify the content that the user is going to pick. And we see that once we add that in, we get the input and we can select dates there as well. And then next, within the JavaScript, we're going to be picking up that value that we've identified within the date. And we also need to create an area within our HTML, and this is where we're going to hold our countdown. So just call it countdown, call it timer. So whatever makes sense for you within your code. Create another div. So this is going to be a div. We're going to be tracking the days, the hours, the minutes, and seconds. So I wanted to add in some spans for that. So do a class, and this class is going to be tracking the days. And we'll start out with a 0 default. And let's go to the next line. It's also using the small tags and just to identify what it is that we're tracking. And I'm going to copy this format over for the other elements that we're going to be tracking as well. So we're going to have another one that we're tracking. So the next level down is hours. So we're tracking hours, all starting out at default of 0 because we're going to use the JavaScript in order to manipulate those and update those. Next, minutes. And then last but not least, of course, is seconds. So actually, I'm going to change these all to lowercase, so that even the minutes to lowercase. And seconds. So there we go. So we've got our basic HTML layout that we're going to need in order to build upon and use our JavaScript and our styling to apply everything to make a countdown timer. So we've got our input where we can select a date. And then once this changes, then we're going to invoke the JavaScript in order to pick up that value and reset the timer. So all of that is coming up in the upcoming lessons. So go ahead and set up your basic HTML template that you're going to use to interact with the JavaScript and the CSS.